Darren Lean wasn't fit enough to return to Brecon on the next course and remains a corporal with his regiment in Windsor. Next week on Battlestripes.
Rapid fire!
Steve Tickle takes charge. And severe weather hits Brecon as two sectioners snowed in. When the British Army goes to war, first in the field are the sergeants. To earn their stripes, this elite must survive the infantry's toughest course. This is the story of that course. Tonight on Battlestripes, severe weather hits the Brecon Hills. And Steve Tickle gets his chance to lead two section into battle.
Rapid fire! Get over!
It's week 2 of the platoon sergeant's battle course, and after a night in camp, two section are moving back out into the hills.
The guys have been awake since about 6 o'clock this morning. It's extremely cold. They'll move into a harbour tonight before going into a series over the next couple of days of platoon-level attacks. No one's going sick. Sergeant Tickle with a bad back seems to have recovered over the weekend.
Right.
He's prepared to make a go of it. And I've got one with a testicular injury. Might be joining us later on in the week. He's still got
what injury?
Testicular.
Oh, right. Thank you.
And I've got one with a small hole in his leg. He needs to see a medic later on.
Right. So not bad, eh?
Not bad.
So,
Everyone's
sort of,
turning up.
retreat from Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sergeant Tickle injured his back. He's been in the brace all last week. He's not going sick. He seems to have recovered over the weekend. He is a concern because although he's showing willing to come out and give it a go, he might not be physically up to it. But at the moment, he's with us, so we're happy.
Despite failing a fitness test and surviving a bad back injury in the first week, Steve Tickle is soldiering on.
Well, it was back spasm and then the muscle seized. So I've been on my physio, on my drugs, and hopefully I'm not that bad so I can crack on. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could do it.
The weather at present is below freezing. We're expecting gales and possible blizzards as the week develops. That's when the platoon sergeant aspects of the course will be coming to the fore. We're expecting to see men who are physically and mentally drained, perhaps on near exhaustion, to be able to pick themselves up, cope with the weather, cope with the command and control aspects that they have to go through.
Tango 33 Delta, this is at 30 for radio check over.
As two section move into the Brecon Hills, the temperature is already below 0 and falling.
And I always believe that on a winter course, 50% of your trouble is the weather. And I found that when I come from Germany. I found it even worse when I was coming from Cyprus, nice and hot, coming to Brecon where it's bloody back and beyond line, it's freezing and snowing and all that. The first 10 days, it's a nightmare because you're constantly like that, shivering. I picked up a cold coming back here as well, and that didn't help. There's nobody that can come here and say, the weather's not a problem, piece of piss and all that, because they're talking at their arse.
For the rest of the week, the students will be in the field. They will spend tonight in a camp or harbour in the woods.
Okay, what they're going to do now is as they get in, stay here now and stand two positions just to make sure this is a safe area. And then once they've established that it is safe, we go into what we call work routine, where we start digging holes. put ponchos over, we put sentry positions out to secure the harbour in case any enemy do turn up, and then basically get this whole thing ready to be lived in.
We'll have a roll mat on top of this. The reason we put a bit of twigs on it is just a bit of extra insulation from us and to try and keep the mud off us as much as possible. Put a roll mat on top of that, then you put in your sleeping bag inside your bivvy bag, then you've got a shelter on top of the poncho, which should keep it dry. But what normally happens is, if the weather keeps going as it is, this will just fill up with water and we'll end up getting soaked throughout.
Obviously the weather's not as best as it could be, and by snow sealing the kit, keeping it warm, then hopefully I will have dry hands and dry feet.
While 2 Section prepare for a night under the stars, the instructors settle into their slightly more comfortable base.
They're going to be dry. They've got all the gas cookers, most probably. Instead of getting boiling bags like we do, they get egg banjos in there, and bacon sarnies, and some. Most probably one of them do a chip run tonight.
Tonight, we'll just take it in turns, stew or chicken, you know, pasta, just added with the rations we get as well. We chip in 5 or 10 a week, just cook before we go out with the blokes. You know, makes a change from eating rations all the time. Obviously, Don's on half rations because he's on diet.
Obviously, that's the first and last one.
Back in the woods, the temperature has dropped and a storm is brewing.
Drover's Arms is a typical DS base. A lot of people think that it's perhaps quite cushy in here, and indeed it is. It's not something that you'd want to come to on holiday. There's few facilities. We do have lights and power here because this used to be a pub. When Sandy Bridge wasn't a training area, many, many moons ago, this was one of the Shepherd's Inns.
For 2 Section, it's going to be a long, cold and exhausting night. Next morning, and back in camp, Course Commander Major Ken Hames has just had his wake-up call.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. The fire outside is frightful.
Out on the training area, the temperature has dropped and the rain has turned to heavy snow.
The cold wind didn't actually start till about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then again it started snowing around about 5 and hasn't about turned into rain around about 11. So.
My plan so far is to leave them exactly where they are. The severe weather seems to be decreasing as the day progresses. Should the weather clear enough to begin to do some attacks, then I'll weigh it up. Because what I don't want to happen at this early stage in the exercise is to have people going down with hypothermia, possibly exposure in the worst case, or pick up an injury. So at the moment, we'll just wait until the weather clears.
Major Hames heads out to the hills to check on his men.
You know, if this was Germany, all the gritters would be out now, and we'd be sort of, you know, this would be completely clear. People would be selling, you know, sausages by the roadside. Because it's the United Kingdom, everything grinds to an almighty halt. Anybody can operate in the cold as long as they've got the right equipment. But it's when it's wet and sleety and miserable like this is when you see who can hack it and who can't.
Ice Station Zebra.
Ice Station Zebra.
This is sausage and beans. Staple diet.
Staple
diet
for the British infantry.
Staple diet for the British infantry, sausage and beans. And actually, these rations are outstanding in every way. I mean, they're full of all the bits and pieces you need. But the great thing is, because they're boiled in a bag, you can see the contents in there. It's not an empty bag. Because they're boiled in a bag, you can eat them cold as well, which makes it's a big bonus. And they only take about 5 minutes to heat up, but they're extremely good. I know I've eaten everybody else's rations in the world, and these are the best, no doubt about it. Best battle course in the world, best rations in the world.
The instructors set off to check that the men are alert, but 2 Section reacts slowly to their unexpected call.
Right, mate. Get up. Get on. Get out on your section line. Come on, 2 Section. Section lines now. 1 minute, section commanders. Get them out there now.
We're very cold, it's very wet, people begin to start thinking, I'm far more comfortable here in my sleeping bag, out of the wind and rain. However, when they get back to their units as platoon sergeants, this is exactly the sort of time when we will expect them to be leading from the front, to be the first man out of his basha, dressed, prepared, ready to go. Some of the soldiers that they will command within the next 3 to 4 months will be 18 years old. And it's at these times when the platoon sergeant is the man who is the rock on which everything else is based.
You back in? Andy. Line off, face towards the colour sign. One section, lead off towards the model, form up in 3 ranks.
Quick as you can, come on, stop fucking about. Right, sit yourselves down on your kit. Right, listen in, gents. We arrived on the position at about 25 minutes ago, all right? To come up here, bring you tea and ammo resupply. I briefed the platoon sergeant. I heard him go round and issue out his instructions. He wanted a work party. 10 minutes later, that work party still wasn't fucking out on the ground. You've been left here in a harbour to rest, all right, and keep out of the foul weather. And the way you responded is to fucking mong it. All right, that guy's in appointment, he's got one chance at it. It's not satisfactory for people to take 10 minutes to get out of their DOS bags because it's nice and fucking warm and dry and they do not want to help him out. We don't want to drag you out and start fucking giving you instructions like this. It's not the way we want to do things. All right, but things are not happening in there that should happen. All right, it's the last time I want to mention that. All right, it's not acceptable, fellas. Okay, and if all of you are honest and sit there and think about it, you'd agree with me. All right, you need to spark when you're told to do something. All right, if we have to start mentioning it again, then we'll make a big deal out of it. All right, this time we'll say it's a blip.
Colour Sergeant's covered the major points there. There's one thing that I want to reiterate to you, you've got to understand. Potential platoon sergeant's battle course. You're going to leave this course, should you pass it, qualified to be a platoon sergeant in your own unit. If you were to walk into a harbour that your platoon had put together and find what we did on arrival here, you would go apoplectic. It is not acceptable. It is nowhere near what I expect to see from any one of you at any time, and it will not happen again. Are we perfectly clear? Yes, today, you have had the opportunity, owing to the inclement weather last night and through, to stay in there in routine. Most of you should be beside yourselves with joy. I expect you to work hard, even when you're in a harbour like this. Happy? Okay.
Touch commanders, lead your sections back.
Coming up, the pressure's on as Steve Tickle gets his first chance to lead 2 section into battle.
Get him move over that good!
All right, give it the same time as me.
In the Brecon Hills, the bad weather has cleared. It's Steve Tickle's turn to command 2 section.
Yes!
After a difficult 10 days, he must do well to impress the instructors.
Stay on the link here, the sandbag here. Right, guys, I'm linking. We're ready to Delta Fire Team. Yep. You're going to be the fire support. Situation, enemy forces. There's 2 locations, the second location being on the edge of the fence line, this being ours. Strength in that location is 1. However, his weapons, he has a medium machine gun, okay? A medium machine gun, 1 man there.
Steve Tickle must lead 2 section to find and destroy an enemy bunker. First, he must work out where he is.